Hello and a very warm welcome to this special, and in fact it is a special presentation because we're talking about a very special person. Now, for many years, in fact for 24 years that he played the game, he carried the expectations of over 1 billion people on his shoulders, and more often than not he's given us so much joy that every time we speak of Sachin Tendulkar, it brings a smile to all our faces. So here we are today celebrating Sachin Tendulkar's 50th birthday. Now, what is the definition of greatness in sport? Is it just statistics, or is it longevity, or is it the impact on the team's result? Is it the quality of opposition that you played against? Is it the quality in your sporting skill, like the range of shots in your batting and the class with which you execute those shots? Is it getting too many firsts in terms of milestones? Milestones that possibly no one will be able to reach in the game. Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar not only ticked all those boxes, but there are two unquantifiable things that made the Master Blaster the greatest ever. The pressure of expectations of more than 1 billion people on his back every time he walked out, and the joy that he could bring to a nation with his extraordinary performances. Today, we are celebrating, like I said, Sachin Tendulkar at 50 with somebody who knows him well, Vijay Lokpalli, a senior journalist who's watched Sachin on many occasions, has written about his exceptional skill, his never give up attitude, the meticulousness with which he's approached his batting. Also on the show is Jamie Alter, who I've spent a lot of time with, having cricket conversations with him, and have seen him cry on only one occasion in the time that we've spent together. He will disagree, but it was him crying the day the legend retired. So let's get straight into it, gentlemen. Let me begin with Vijay sir then. Sir, this takes me back to when Sachin Tendulkar was playing. If you can hear me, the number of shows that I've done, and I'm sure the number of pieces that you've written, it was really a favorite topic. You know, there were debates on whether he was the greatest. There were debates on Sachin's comeback, the tennis elbow, that became a national obsession. This is really going back in time, and this is one of those shows that I'm sure you and I and Jamie will enjoy doing a lot. Vijay sir?
Definitely, Meha. You have watched him from close. Jamie, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Continue.
And Jamie knows him very well. So, yeah. It's been a wonderful journey knowing this man who played for the country, yes. And he also, you talked about pressures. He would create his own pressure. I mean, he always wanted to perform. A defeat would leave him shattered. And a win, he would, like I always said, he would celebrate a win with the team and grieve about the loss in his room alone, because he would take it upon himself. He thought he had to deliver in every game and take India across the final line. But he's been a remarkable person. If you see, he's played with such dignity. He has brought name not just for the game, for himself, and he has cared for his colleagues. He has looked after the game. If you remember, there were times when cricket was rocked controversies, he stayed ahead of them, and he was a role model, the brand ambassador for Test cricket, ODI cricket, and had he been 10 years younger, he would have been making records in T20 also. So I think he was born to play cricket, and I'm very, very fortunate to have known him. We all have been fortunate to have known him. It's been a lifetime writing about him, watching him, and learning from him. I've learned to be a disciplined person from him. He's much younger than me, but awesome dedication to the game, and he would often come and check on how was the writing going, how were the facilities in the press box. All these things, not many people would do it.
Jamie, of course, contrary to every Indian cricket fan's biggest fear, life did go on after Sachin Tendulkar retired. I know that on the day of that retirement, we felt that, there were so many emotions as cricket journalists, as someone who followed him. But just now looking back, I mean, you do see how special a cricketer, not just a cricketer, person that Sachin Tendulkar is. I mean, the only thing I can say now is that he's turned 50. I mean, it was some time ago that we were celebrating, you know, one of his many hundreds, and he's 50 now.
He's 50, makes us seem a little older than we actually are. But it's remarkable, you know, I mean, what this one man has done. And we can all go on, and as we have, Vijay sir has written so much about Sachin. We've all watched from different vantage points. But, you know, if you pinpoint, for me, it's how this boy, when he first played for India as a teenager, how he, first of all, inspired hope in countless people, and also how he sort of unified the nation, right? India has never lacked for heroes, for visionaries. But the way that this boy, you know, it's almost like there's a bit of a protective nature around him. And I'm going back to the first time, you know, we all saw him. You heard this from elders, you know, "Are ye apna ladka hai, kitna chota hai," you know. So but there's always this, you know, it's almost indescribable, but it's a feeling of, you know, he's your brother, he's your son, your nephew. There was this real charm about this teenager, you know, taking on Wasim and Waqar, and he almost went to the West Indies, you know. But I think the selectors, rightfully, and Dilip Vengsarkar, decided, no, in case this bright star gets injured or scared by the West Indies fast bowler, then he won't go on that tour '89. But from the time he started to play, and then when India opened up, you know, and it's not without coincidence that the rise of Sachin also came with the rise of India opening up its economic doors, right? He became the face. He became this brand. So there's so many things when you look back at 50 years of Sachin Tendulkar. I saw this lovely interview of his when he said, "I'd like to see myself as 25 years old with 25 years of experience." I think that's a very nice way to sum up him turning 50.
Yeah, well said. 25 years old with 25 years of experience. But we all have our favorite Sachin memories. We'll talk about that, sir. But you've got to tell us about your first memories. I remember having a conversation with Sunil Gavaskar, and he said that, you know, the day he watched him, he went back home and told his wife that I've seen someone very special. Vijay sir, your first memory of Sachin Tendulkar?
This was in a domestic match. We were traveling in Kanpur, and he was playing in Mandi also. So this was, Ravi Shastri was in the squad. He wasn't really making a huge impact, but yes, he looked very different. And then, of course, when I went to Sharjah in '91, and then the 1991-92 tour to South Africa, when we became very, very close, going out in the evenings and having lunches and dinners together. So I got to know him, and he grew on me as a cricketer. I've been very fortunate to have watched Mr. Bedi, all these huge cricketers. But Sachin has stood out because, like Jamie was saying just now, he is very, very different. And I can never forget, Jamie, the first interview which Sachin gave, that was to your dad. And what a wonderful, cute interview that was. This little man talking about his batting and how he liked the ball coming onto the bat, you know, and kind of trying to make it very clear that what he had in mind. And yes, he has carried the burden of the country on his shoulders. He has won many matches, some he could not, and he spent those evenings in grief. I can never forget Barbados, when 81 all out. That was a miserable time. And then, of course, many games which India should have won, they lost. So not because of him, of course, but yes, I mean, he has kept the game alive. Today, if you see, Virat Kohli stands up for Test cricket, but Sachin has stood up for cricket all his life. Even domestic matches, if you see, Meha, he would not miss a single Ranji Trophy match. He was around, just like Mr. Gavaskar would not, or Kapil Dev would not. They never missed. All these big players, they won't miss domestic cricket just because they have become international players.
I also think, Vijay sir, that, you know, of course, because it's Sachin Tendulkar and he realized what everything that he said meant. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that in the interviews that we got to hear from him, he was far more guarded. He knew that anything that he said would become a headline. So in that sense, he was very guarded in the interviews that he gave. I wanted to ask you, since you spent so much time with him, what is it like when Sachin Tendulkar is not that guarded? And if you could just, tell us a little bit more about things that he likes doing, things that a lot of people don't know about Sachin Tendulkar.
Well, he would, you're right, Meha. I mean, he's always been guarded in his interviews for the very simple reason that he doesn't want to hurt people. He will take the blame upon himself. He will say, okay, I played a bad shot. You can hold me responsible. And the best thing is, if you want to know what are his feelings, you will see that he is sitting in a corner, not speaking with people. I mean, he goes into a shell. He doesn't shout at his teammates. I mean, he has not done that. I don't know. I've not come across players who have come and said, "Oh, Sachin Paji ne to aaj uda diya." But there were times I remember in Colombo when in '97 when India was a very strong team and yet they lost the one-dayers, and that's the time he was very angry because the bowlers were not delivering, and he thought a couple of them were not putting in their best, and then they lost the places in the team. He again did not hurt them. He just he went with the selectors. There were times when he defended them also. Some of these players who were not performing, and people always accused that that he was very partial to Vinod Kambli, which he was not. Vinod Kambli, if he did not perform, he did not play in Sachin's 11. So he has been very fair, and he loved. You look at how he nurtured or Harbhajan Singh or Zahir Khan. I mean, yes, they flourished under Saurav Ganguly's captaincy, but the man behind them was Sachin Tendulkar. They will tell you, they will confess. I was talking to Yuvraj Singh a couple of days back. He's recently in England, and he wanted to be here, but he missed the occasion, and he was just raving about Sachin. I mean, how he shaped and how he motivated him to become a cricketer. There are so many players. Virendra Sehwag, he has gone on record that he played cricket only after watching Sachin play. So these are incidents which will tell you that he is at times a very private man, but he loves the company of players. You can see he has gone and played benefit matches for so many domestic players because he knows they would need that kind of financial security, and he would always spare time to come. I remember he came and played in Delhi once, Sharan Singh's benefit match, and the only condition he put was he would fly in the morning, he will get to bat first, and he went in the evening in Mumbai. So he came, played, batted well, and then took the evening flight back to Mumbai. So what I'm trying to say is that he made an effort to come to Delhi. He participated in the game, and there are many such incidents where he has come to the rescue of players. Privately, he does it. He doesn't want you to write about it, but and doesn't like also to talk about it. So Sachin Tendulkar, I think he is the best.
Oh, okay. We'll try to reconnect with Vijay sir. But yes, you can comment. You can congratulate him or wish him on his birthday rather. Sachin Tendulkar turning 50 in the live chat. But let's also just continue this conversation, Jamie. And the fact that, the number of debates that we've had when Sachin was playing about who is the greatest. And this is one of those things, favorite pastime really for sports journalists, for people in general, in bars, you'd hear people talking about, oh, is it Messi, is it Ronaldo? And similarly with Sachin Tendulkar, Don Bradman, there was always this conversation, similarly with Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal. And the one thing that I kept saying with Sachin was, of course, the statistics and the milestones, records, all of that, the sheer number that he stacked up as a player, but more than that, the number of times that he got his team over the line, which was another thing that, we would discuss when we'd have these debates. Keeping that in mind, what makes you, what do you think was so special about Sachin Tendulkar? What made him the greatest?
I mean, obviously, there's God-gifted talent there, right? This is more than a once-in-a-generation player. But there are comparisons to Don Bradman, which is why the first time in the 90s we heard that story of Sir Don telling his wife, "This boy Sachin, I think that's the way I bat," right? Because Don Bradman, now of course, Don Bradman had a lot of far better players in his team as compared to what Sachin had, especially in the first 10 years of his career. But just the way that Don Bradman meant so much to that Australian country coming off the Great Depression. Even India went through its own depression in the 80s, right? The economy here was bust, the country was in debt. So at the same time comes this boy who, just as the country starts to get back on its feet, and also India did not have a lot going for it, right? Along comes this boy. His rise coincides with India's rise as an economic superpower. It was a deal that he signed with WorldTel in the mid 90s.
Yeah,
It was
95.
45
Yeah.
45 crores back then.
Yes.
If you do the valuation, that must be, I don't know, 15 times what it is now. So think about, this was the power of that boy, or that man, as it was by the time that deal was signed. So on the one hand, there's this undeniable God-gifted talent, but it's about what he meant for India, what he meant for middle class India, what he meant for a generation, right? I mean, my father tried to get me into cricket about 5 years before Sachin came along, but it was only until Sachin started doing Sachin things that the bug bit me. And I'm sure this is the case for crores of people, right? I found out just today, someone who's in our age, our bracket, his father didn't like cricket, but seeing his son's love for cricket, he started watching Sachin, and then he fell in love with Sachin. So greatness on the field is definitely, there's one thing, but it's greatness to cross boundaries, to bring people together, to inspire, forget India, to inspire people around the world. That is what, for me, sets him apart as the greatest.
Vijay sir, if you can hear me, just also the sheer perseverance with which he overcame the injuries, bad form, because I mean, a 24-year long career, you would see tremendous amount of hardships, So yes, you're Sachin Tendulkar, and you're winning matches for your country, but then there also came a time when tennis elbow kept you out of the game, and then you wondered whether you were going to come back. There was a time when you're completely out of form, you're wondering whether you'd be able to get back and be able to play in the same way. Do you remember those moments, having conversations with him, and what were those conversations like? The comeback really for Sachin Tendulkar, and there were many in that long tenure.
Meha, he never made excuses. He would never tell you that, oh, my back is breaking, oh, or my leg is paining. You'll remember the Chennai Test match. He batted with such immense pain against Pakistan. India lost the match, which hurts him even today, which hurts most of the Indian cricket fans even today. So had he hung around another, he would have finished the game for us. But he never complained. He never made excuses. And yes, when you play for so long, you're bound to attract injuries. And he had his own. He would try and forget the pain, walk onto the field. He never came out and sought the refuge of the comforts of the dressing room. Just because he was in pain, he would hang on the ground, because his presence meant so much to the team. They were all inspired by the fact that, oh, Sachin is standing there in the slip or in the cover, and his wisdom would guide the bowlers. He would always, if you remember, when he was not even the captain, Azhar was leading the team. He would on his own walk up to the bowlers or make a fielding change, and Azhar loved it. I mean, Azhar never interfered. He said, oh, it's his, he loved the enthusiasm, and he allowed Sachin to at times function as if he was the captain. So that was how he was loved by the team members, and that is how he was loved by the countrymen who would. I have seen, Meha, I have been at grounds where if Sachin would get out, the stadium would begin to empty, because that was the respect they had for him, because they realized Sachin out ho gaya to match khatam ho gaya, which I've never known for any other cricketer even today. You have your Kohlis, you have your Dhonis, but it was only Sachin who gave that confident to the audience, to his spectators, to the fans, that as long as he was around, he would see India through. And it was some phenomena where people would just start leaving the stadium once Sachin got out, which is a big tribute to his individual skills in a team game. We
Yeah.
all know cricket is a team game, but there were so many times they would all go to watch just one individual. That was Sachin Tendulkar.
That's right. 34,357 runs in all formats, 100 hundreds, 200 tests. I mean, you're looking at someone who's been exceptional in the sport, undoubtedly once in a lifetime cricketer, and we're wishing him a very happy birthday. Jamie, just a last one before I let you go. You know, often the comparisons with Virat Kohli in modern cricket. Where do you see Virat Kohli? I mean, you know, frankly, let's change that. Let's just say, is there going to be anybody who would be able to get to where Sachin Tendulkar has?
No, no, no. And Meha, it's just like I was discussing with a few people this morning, every time this discussion of who can perhaps get to his one-day record, his test records, every time these discussions start to actually move from the realm of chalo dekhte hain to actually, oh, it's possible. That said individual, his form has tapered off. I remember Alistair Cook. There were times people were genuinely talking about Alistair Cook doing it. Then he lost form for about 18 months. And by the time he came back to run scoring form, Cook said, this is going to be my last series, and he never came close. Same with Joe Root. Joe Root's form tailed off. Same with Virat Kohli. I remember I put out a tweet at the start of 2019 saying this is the year where Virat Kohli is going to get to 50 hundreds. Then he went 3 years without 100. So there's every time a genuine contender has come near, fate has conspired to remind us that nahi, there's only one Sachin Tendulkar, and let that genius's records stay his only.
Okay, I'm going to let Jamie go, but Vijay sir is still with us. Quickly, sir, we've talked about Sachin Tendulkar, the cricketer. We've talked about Sachin Tendulkar, the human being, the person that he is, the personality that he is. But let's also talk about, before we wrap this show up, let's also talk about Sachin Tendulkar, the brand, and the mega brand that he became at a time when there was nobody else really. As Jamie was mentioning as well, signing a deal with Wortel for over 35 crores in 1995. And you know what? That brand of Sachin Tendulkar is still carries on. It's still as durable, as big a brand. I mean, brands would want to bet on him even today because of not just what Sachin Tendulkar has done in these years, but sir, also just the person he is. You know, he's somebody, like you said, never lost his cool, just has that personality which is very statesman-like. You know, people respect him for who he is. He's conducted himself on and off the field in the most honorable way possible. He's a family man. So in that sense, that story, that brand worked well for Pepsi and for Gillette and all the others who wanted Sachin Tendulkar as their endorser.
Is it not amazing? I mean, I remember there was a drinks break after the Nets, and the cold drink was not the one he was endorsing. So he made a request. There was actually no photographer around, but he still made a request that can you get the other drink, because he wanted to make sure he stayed loyal to the brand. And he has, like you say, what is it that he has not endorsed? Everything. And people should remember, like the beautiful line you said just now, that he is a man with no controversies. He is a man to be emulated, and that's what role models are for. I mean, whether he's selling a T-shirt, whether he's selling cold drink, you know that he's endorsing a quality product, and even given the fact that he has not lost any of his charm, any of his appeal with this generation. They go mad when they see him in the stands. They go mad when they see him at the airport. You should see him. And the best thing, Meha, I want to share here is his love for kids. I have seen him sign no less than 150 autographs at a time, each with each taken care. Sometimes he will ask the name of the kid, write it down, and draw a smiley. He loves it. And I remember once in Delhi, there was a policeman who pushed a kid at the Ferozshah Kotla. He fell, and this guy just took off. I mean, he just blasted that policeman in Marathi. Then I had to tell him, Sachin, this is Delhi, it's not Mumbai. Then he gave him him in Hindi. So he said that day I saw how he cared for kids, how he loved his fans. There have been times when he has gone and saved a fan being caned by a policeman. It would pain him a lot, and so I think you can't find a better brand ambassador for the game, for any product that he endorses, and he has grown. He continues to grow. I mean, I can tell you, I put out a tweet a while ago where he said, once he asked me in Marathi, Kiti lihshil means, how much are you going to write? So I told him, as long as you're playing, I will have to write. And look at it today, Meha, he stopped playing and I'm still writing on him.
Okay, I think we'll wrap up this conversation, but yes, Sachin Tendulkar, I mean, what he means to every Indian. It's been incredible, this journey, and I think I'll wrap it up by saying what Sachin said. I'll just borrow it from him, sir, that he's 25 years old with 25 years of experience. And with that, we'll wish him all the very best. We'll also congratulate him right now. Sachin Tendulkar, a very happy birthday to you, a very happy 50th birthday to you. Okay, sir, we'll also move on. There's an IPL match on today between Sunrisers Hyderabad and Delhi Capitals. Two teams that are at the bottom of the table, two teams that are trying to survive in this IPL. And with Delhi Capitals, it was, they would have been happy at least to get a win in their last match. But for Sunrisers Hyderabad, they've lost their the last two games that they've played. This is going to be an important match for both these teams. Delhi Capitals, though, David Warner showed that he can score quick runs, silenced his critics who were complaining about how his strike rate was not good enough. He said, look, I can bat quickly, and that's exactly what he did in the last game. But there are just two batters. They're doing the job for Delhi Capitals. One is their captain, David Warner, and the other is Akshar Patel. What about the others? What about Prithvi Shaw? What about Mitchell Marsh? What about Rovman Powell? None of these guys have been scoring runs, and if Delhi want to continue to do well, they need their other batters to put their hand up. Talking about Sunrisers Hyderabad, they have their own problems when it comes to their batting. Once again, Harry Brook may have scored 100 but hasn't done much in the other matches that he has played. Aiden, Markram and Rahul Tripathi in the same boat for Sunrisers Hyderabad. Their other problem is not just their batting, but their bowling has also been inconsistent. And one name that stands out for me here is of Washington Sundar, who hasn't been able to get a wicket so far and has only scored 36 runs in 4 innings. Brooks 156, best aggregate among Sunrisers Hyderabad's batters. But like I said, that's 100. He hasn't really got going in the other games. So both these teams have their own set of problems. Who will come out on top? The one big thing that I'm looking forward to, and I think Vijay sir would agree, is this David Warner's homecoming of sorts, sir, coming back to Hyderabad. This is a venue that he, okay, it looks like Vijay Lokpali is not with us, but yeah, there's one thing that I think Sunrisers Hyderabad fans and David Warner fans would be looking forward to is him batting in Hyderabad. This is a venue that he loves batting at. He's got 1,604 runs here, most by any batter. So David Warner in Delhi colours playing against Sunrisers Hyderabad. That is the one contest that I'm looking forward to. The other being Bhuvneshwar Kumar and whether he is going to perform for Sunrisers Hyderabad, because if Sunrisers Hyderabad want to do well, then Bhuvneshwar Kumar needs to lead the bowling pack. Can he do it? That's the big question. Also, like we've been saying, Warner 200 plus aggregate, 285 runs from 6 games. He's been scoring runs for Delhi Capitals. The problem is that it's the others who haven't been supporting him at the other end, except for Akshar Patel. So Prithvi Shaw, Mitchell Marsh, can they score runs today? Should Prithvi Shaw play today? That is the other question. Last time he came in as an impact player. So that's the battle really for survival between Delhi Capitals and Sunrisers Hyderabad. So there you have it. That's the big match coming up tonight between Delhi Capitals and Sunrisers Hyderabad in Hyderabad. The big match for both these teams, desperate to get a win. Sunrisers Hyderabad having lost their last 2 games, and Delhi Capitals finally getting on board in the last game against Kolkata Knight Riders. But they did panic at one point. They restricted Kolkata Knight Riders to 127 bowlers doing well. Ishant Sharma did a good job for Delhi Capitals, but once David Warner was out as Delhi were chasing, there was a bit of panic, and they did struggle to overhaul the target. Okay, now let's move on to the other big story from the world of sports, and that is on wrestling. Once again, India's top wrestlers are out sitting at Jantar Mantar asking for the WFI president Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh to be arrested for sexual harassment. So those who graced the podium at the Olympics and the World Championships, they are sitting out on the road. They are compelled to spend the night under the open sky at the Jantar Mantar in New Delhi. Top wrestlers, as you can see, they are back at the protest site, demanding that Wrestling Federation of India's defunct president Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh be arrested for sexual harassment. 7 female wrestlers, including a minor, they've leveled these allegations, sexual harassment allegations, against the Federation chief, a career politician who's serving his 6th term as a member of parliament. Now, the wrestlers who during the earlier protests wanted Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh out of the national governing body are now not ready to settle for anything less than a criminal case against him, even as it has been confirmed that he can't hold any post in the Wrestling Federation since he's already served 3 terms as the WFI president. Meanwhile, the government of India, they've asked the Indian Olympic Association to stall the WFI election proceedings. They're saying that they should be called as null and void. The elections were scheduled for 7th of May. They have now they've asked IOA to declare those elections null and void. The IOA is also advised by the ministry to initiate a fresh election process under a new neutral, a sort of a temporary ad hoc body and a returning officer. They've given them 45 days after this committee is formed to then go back and hold elections. The government has also advised IOA to set several standard operating procedures to deal with sexual harassment complaints in the sports body.
लेकिन 2 मिनट में वापस आती हूँ, तभी गेट बंद कर दिया, मेरे को भी अंदर नहीं आने दिया। अभी बहुत मुश्किल से मैं अंदर आई हूँ। जो महिला कांस्टेबल है, जो महिला एसपी है, पता नहीं, वो भी धक्के मुक्की करे हमारे साथ में। मीडिया के साथ में भी मारपीट की गई है। अभी हमें पता चला है कि पता नहीं, हमें समझ में नहीं आया क्या झगड़ा हुआ है। मीडिया के साथ में भी मारपीट की गई है। जो देश का चौथा स्तंभ बोलते हैं, जो न्याय दिलवाता है, जो हमें भी न्याय दिलवाने के लिए आज यहाँ पे खड़ा है, वो भी दुखी हो रहे हैं, हम भी दुखी हो रहे हैं। पानी अंदर नहीं आने दे रहे अभी हमारे पास में, अभी ना खाना आने दे रहे हमारे पास में। शायद टॉयलेट भी बंद कर देंगे थोड़ी देर में, या कर ही दिया होगा। अभी 9 बज गए हैं, शायद ऑलमोस्ट 8 बज गए हैं। पूरी रात हम यहीं पे टिके हैं। मेरी पुलिस से एक गुजारिश है कि जो हमारे साथ में जो अपन न्याय करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो या कर रहे हो, कोशिश क्या कर ही रहे हो, आप हमने जो FIR करवाने के लिए जो कंप्लेंट्स दी है 7 लड़कियों ने, आप FIR लॉन्च क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो? अब जो महिला जो यहाँ पे पुलिस अधिकारी हैं, मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करती हूँ कि आप हमारे साथ में महिला हो, कि आप हमारे साथ में इतनी बदसलूकी से पेश आ रहे हो, जो हम देश का मान सम्मान बढ़ाते हैं, हम खिलाड़ी, आप ब्रजभूषण के खिलाफ में FIR क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो? हमें ये नौबत ही नहीं आती आज। अगर हमें न्याय मिल जाए तो हमें ये नौबत ही नहीं आती आज। तो हमारा खाना पानी बंद करने से ऐसा नहीं होगा कि हम यहाँ से चले जाएंगे।
हम न्याय की लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं, ना कि हम अपनी कोई पर्सनल लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमारी कोई निजी इसमें स्वार्थ है। हमें कुछ न्याय नहीं मिला, इसलिए हम दोबारा आगे बैठे हैं। और जो कमेटी गठित की थी उसने ना तो हमें कोई चीजें बताई कि हमने रिपोर्ट सबमिट कर दी है, 2.5-3 महीने हो गए हैं, ना उन्हें ये बताया कि दोषी कौन है। और रेसलिंग फेडरेशन ने दोबारा से अपनी एक्टिविटी स्टार्ट कर दी है, नेशनल चैंपियनशिप करवा रहे हैं अपने क्षेत्र में ही, जहाँ से वो ब्रजभूषण MP है उधर गोंडा से। तो मुझे लगता है कि इसका मतलब तो उनको क्लीन चिट दे दी, सब चीजें उनके फेवर में ही कर रहे हैं सब चीजें, तो इसका मतलब खिलाड़ी झूठे बैठे थे।
देखो चुनौती का बता दे, जब हम रात को बैठे और हमारे घर से खाना आया तो खाना बंद कर दिया जी सबसे पहले, पानी भी अंदर नहीं आने दिया। उसके बाद ठीक है उन्होंने थोड़ा कोऑपरेट करने की कोशिश की। पूरी रात से हम यहाँ हैं, किसी का कोई समर्थन नहीं है, कोई अप्रोच नहीं है कि वो हमारी बात सुनेंगे, लेकिन फिर भी उम्मीद है। हम यहाँ बैठे हैं, न्याय की लड़ाई के लिए बैठे हैं, सच्चाई की लड़ाई के लिए बैठे हैं और चाहते हैं कि हमें इंसाफ मिले।
देखिए, मुझे अभी आप लोगों के माध्यम से पता लगा कि पहलवानों ने आज फिर जंतर मंतर पे प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की है और सुनने में आया है कि भाई उन्होंने FIR भी लॉन्च करवाई है। तो जो भी प्रक्रिया होगी, पुलिस का जो काम होता है, पुलिस अपने हिसाब से काम करेगी और सबका अपना अधिकार है FIR करवाना, कोर्ट में केस करना, और जो भी है वो न्याय होना चाहिए।
Well, the protests continue at the Jantar Mantar by top Indian wrestlers as they demand arrests for Bhushan, Sharan Singh, the WFI president, for the sports ministry. They have they've asked the IOA to declare the upcoming WFI elections null and void, and that a committee be set up for day-to-day functioning within the WFI. We'll get you more on this developing story and all the other stories from the world of sports. That's it. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.